Buongiorno, buongiorno Los Angeles. Sono Maddalena Fossati. Oh, sorry, I need to speak in English. Hi, good morning everybody. I'm Maddalena Fossati. I'm the editor-in-chief of La Cucina Italiana. We are here today with the Italy Chamber of Commerce West in Los Angeles. We are here today to celebrate the true Italian taste, l'autentico gusto italiano. And we are here today to celebrate Antonia Authentic Italian Table. Ciao Antonia, thanks for coming and for joining us. So what are we going to cook with our friends?
Well, I'm in love every year with a different type of risotto. You know that in the northeast of Italy, the region where I come from, it's typical to combine vegetable, fruit, meats, cheese. And it's really a challenge to present the summer ingredients, in this case the pepperoni, something really, really Italian, and with another fruit that is amazing for me, the grapefruit. The pink grapefruit is amazing because it has so many flavors inside. You have the bitterness, you have the acidity, you have the sweetness sometimes, and
the freshness.
And having a risotto, so a really Italian first course, it's really a challenge with those ingredients, but I hope you will enjoy it.
I'm almost sure that I will. And yes, we have a pepper. We have a grapefruit pinky, the pink one,
The
right?
pink one, yes.
And it's very interesting also because, for example, in Sicily, in our culture, the food, there is a lot of oranges or salad of orange. And somehow there is a connection between your region that is really northeast of Italy, Friuli, Venezia Giulia, and Sicily that is completely on the other side. By the way, we say hi to our friends from Sicily too. So please go ahead.
Yes.
Riso. Here?
Yes, we have here all the ingredients that we will use during the recipe. So you have the rice that is a carnaroli. I really prefer this type of rice for my risotto because they have this long shade that I love. And even the cooking process, it's quite simple because it releases the amide in a really good way for me. And
so sorry if I interrupt you, but for doing a good risotto, you have to have the right rice. So
correct.
Carnaroli is the one for Antonia. Of course, other chefs maybe prefer other different kind of, but the point is to get an Italian rice.
Yes, of course.
Not other Asian, for example, because the result is not really good in terms of creaminess or...
Of course, and even in Italy, in the northern part of Italy, where it's quite typical to have good risotto, Via Lorenano, Carnaroli, and a lot of them, you really can feel the difference when you change one name by the other. So it's really something that it depends to the result that you want to obtain at the end. And I think there is no one technique to obtain a good risotto. I think the challenge for young chefs, but for everybody, I think, is to rethink the traditions in a way, even what seems to be simple, like cooking a risotto, and push it in the future, you know?
Sure, yes.
And so
changing the code of cuisine.
Changing the code not only by the ingredients that you use, but also by the technique that you at the end use to make a risotto. So you will feel it during the recipe that there is a difference from the traditional idea of a risotto.
Va bene, let's start then. Vai.
Yes, so here you have the rice, of course. Here you have the powder, because we will use, fruit and vegetables that are not rare, really common. One of my points is not to waste anything.
Okay.
It's not only by using luxury ingredients that you have to use the no waste philosophy. You have to be careful to what you waste, even if you use a pepperoni. And what taught me a lot about this was having a kitchen garden in my restaurant, because really it's difficult to obtain a pepperoni like this. you have to use a lot of energy. The plant has to be perfect, the soil, the water that you use. And so for that reason, you have to be really sensitive, carefully cooking the vegetables when you have it in your kitchen, even if it's only a pepperoni.
Respect.
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 So you have here the red pepperoni, the yellow ones, the frigitelli, you know, the jalapeno type of pepperoni, the green peppers.
In Italiano we say frigitelli.
Frigitelli. Really simple to obtain this type of pepperoni in the northeast of Italy. It's really difficult to obtain a good red pepperoni, but
Because they need more sun, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe in California you have more red than.
Yes, yeah, or in
well,
Sicily.
maybe you have everything in California.
Yes, but this is really something that comes very, very easily even in my kitchen garden. And then you have the grapefruit, as we said, the shallots, and this magic powder that is only the rice blended.
Okay.
This,
I mean, the raw rice
The
blended.
raw rice blended. We will add this at the end of the cooking process, but even at the start, at the beginning. If you use some powder from the same rice that you use during the recipe, you will understand that it will be more easy to whisk the fat at the end. It will be, more easy to obtain a creamy risotto.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So let's start. We start from the red pepperoni. We want to obtain a cream made by them, and we use the salt to protect them from the high temperature of the oven. So you will put like this the red pepperoni at 220 degrees, so the highest temperature of your oven, for about 20 minutes, and after 10 minutes you have only to turn them.
Okay, so 20 minutes to get all cooked.
Yes.
You do 10 minutes on one side and on the other side, other 10.
Yes,
Okay.
and I wanted to show...
We said degrees because it's different in the US, but I think it's going to be the maximum heat of the oven, we can say. All right.
Exactly. And at the end,
This is how they come out.
Yes.
After.
As you see, you obtain something that is caramelized.
Can I?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Caramelized outside. And the interesting thing is that it's quite juicy inside.
Because the humidity still inside doesn't go out.
Yes.
Yes, all right.
And another tricky thing is that when I do my pepperoni and I want to preserve all the humidity of them, when they are still hot, you put them with the skin. Can you see the water that comes out? If you want to preserve it, because the water of this pepperoni is amazing. In the modern Italian cuisine, we use a lot in our recipes the water, the glaze that comes out from the vegetables during the cooking process. And so this is full of flavor, full of freshness. And if you put them hot in the bag, you are sure that the juices will rest in them. You close them like this. Okay. And then you forget them, like on your table, until they are cold. And then the humidity that is inside the bag will let the skin to come out really easily from the pepperoni.
And this is also good for digestion because it's much lighter. So
yes.
Yeah.
And another point is that there's no fat. As you can see, you obtain a juicy and really tasteful pepperon without any fat inside. Another thing, you obtain the juice, you can use it in insalata, rice insalata,
nice.
In a pasta insalata, or
as a dressing.
Yes, you
without
can,
fat and a very healthy dressing.
You can add it even to the yogurt and obtain a yogurt that has already inside a pepperoni taste without any fat added. And then you go like this, and can you see the water that is inside?
Yes.
A very, very nice syrup that is totally natural. So the pepperoni that you clean like this,
yes.
without the seeds, will be the base of the cream that we will make to whisk to stir in the risotto. Okay?
Because in Italiano we say mantecare. It's a magic word.
It's a
because
magic
stirring,
word.
Mantecare for us is really the moment where everything comes up to life, and we are almost at tavola, and so we are happy to mantecare. It's a crucial moment for the cooking.
Yes, for the first course is...
Because it's definitely the moment that where you do a mistake, you pay after.
Yes, correct.
So you clean up the skin.
Yes,
okay.
And again, you can preserve it in a
You
way...
want me to help you?
We are ready to go.
Okay.
And the point is that I wanted to show you how interesting can be this, I don't know if I can say, but it's like a paprika. And you made it by your pepperoni, using everything of it without wasting anything. So you put this right in the blender, in a normal blender, and you do a cream. Okay? You can choose if
without any adding nothing else, like salt or nothing.
You can season it with a little bit of salt, and if you like to add some of the powder that you have made, you can add it, okay? Without the problem about the digestion, of course, because it's cooked and it's dried.
Yeah, because this is basically the skin of the pepper that you blended.
Yes, you obtain this skin through the process of cleaning the pepperoni, and then you put it in a dryer or in the sun or in the oven.
Or in the sun, yes, why not?
Or in the at low temperature, and you obtain this. And then you blend them and you obtain the powder. So really, really easy. If you don't have a good blender, you can also use the mortaio. I don't know the English word for the mortaio.
Neither do I, but yeah.
By hand, you know?
Yeah.
You can...
mortaio. Let me see if I find the mortaio here, but never mind, we will tell you after. I'm going to check my dictionary.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, again, another pepperoni. Again, we will use everything from it. So, I will show you. You can really, really easy peel it like an apple.
It looks very easy made by you. I'm not sure that I'm going to be that good to do the same thing. But
it's really easy.
Okay.
And as you can see, again, we are wasting something in theory. But at the end, even this, with some pulp on it, it will be really tasteful. Okay? So, we have made, again, a powder from them.
From this, okay.
Yes, the same process. So, dryer and then crush through a mortaio or blend it. And another thing.
Sorry, Antonia, this is very important. I mean, besides if we cook Italian or not, but how Antonia, she's keeping her hand, especially your fingers. Never have the fingers like this, but keeping.
And can you see how I'm cutting the pepperoni? You know, when I think about my mother, I think her doing this with a lot of white on it. But the point is that if you are really gentle and if you turn the pepperoni through the process of cutting, you really have only the yellow part.
Okay.
Okay? This will be again useful for maybe a sauce. You can put it on a soup if you want to use it in another way. You can cut the other pieces. Now we will make a juice from the yellow pepperoni, and it will be the base for the cooking, the humidity that we need to cook the risotto. Instead of a normal stock, we will use the juice from the pepperoni.
Yeah, so the taste, the flavor is gonna be
really fresh.
Fresh and intense too.
Really intense. And you know, when I make a recipe, whatever, if it's a first course or a starter, you have to rethink about you know, the flavor in a new way, I think. You know, because it will be really easy to put the pepperoni cut in a pot like this and cut them with a little bit of onion and cook them until they are soft, and then you can blend them and you obtain a cream that is yellow and you can make a risotto from that too. But I think that
with less taste, maybe.
with the less, of
yes.
course,
yes.
with less taste, and it will be not so fresh. And at the end, I'm showing how to make really easy, a really easy juice that you can use even to make a pasta.
Sure.
Okay.
And it's a way to preserve the authentic taste.
Yes.
So that why we are here today is the authentic Italian taste.
Yes.
Il vero gusto italiano.
Yes.
Autentico
So
ancora meglio.
we will use
Oh,
the
yeah.
juicer. I'm sorry for the noise.
You want me to do?
I don't want you
Meglio così.
to be dirty at the end of the day. Va? Sì. Sembra di sì.
Nice, coming.
Yes. Can you see how
Yes.
nice is the color? And we will have at the end a base that is totally, it's not, it's defat. And I really encourage to use the natural taste of the vegetable with the natural presence of sugar inside them to obtain caramelization sometimes, or
Yes. Instead adding sugar or salt, let's use what is naturally inside. Yes.
exactly.
Absolutely. It's
And-
healthier and the taste is even better.
Exactly, exactly.
Yes. Yes.
And do you love risotto?
I do. I'm
Yes.
from Milano, I love risotto.
Yes. So this is the juice that we have that I think it will be enough to make our risotto. Can you see how wonderful it is? And then we will have another base of a typical risotto, rethought by me, you know, and this is the acid butter. Is it correct in English? We use
Burro acido,
burro
acid
acido.
butter.
We use the burro acido to whisk the risotto, to stir it.
Sorry, I take you
stir
the
it
pan for the rice,
Yes, thank you so much.
so I can do something to help
Yes,
you.
you're a good assistant. And this is another very, very, very important ingredient of every risotto that I know that is good. And this is the scallion, the shallots,
The
correct?
shallot. Yes.
Scalogno in Italian.
Scalogno. In Italy, we call also échalote, especially in the kitchen environment, because you guys, chef, you are mostly formed by the French tradition.
Well,
But
it's really strange because I cannot speak French, but I'm a cook, and so some words from
from
the
there.
French language arrive to me.
Yes. Well, it's true that the French gave a lot, and they're still giving a lot to the food in general, so why not?
Yes.
In Italiano, we call scalogno anyway. Why scalogno and not onion?
Well, you can use you can combine the two flavors. For me, it's interesting because the shallots, the scalogno, has even some garlic flavor inside. So it's a little bit more complex sometimes than a normal onion. That it's
It's a
quite
bit more, it's flatter. compared-
it's really sweet.
Yes.
So when I need something more, I use the shallots.
Are you crying for
Yes,
this?
that's terrible.
You never get used to that, right? Even if you do every day, you still
There are-
crying in front of an onion or a shallot.
There are so many tricks in the professional kitchen not to do that, and it's having a very, very good knife. It helps, and even someone put the water in the mouth
Yes.
while doing that.
Yes.
Because I think with that technique you don't respirare.
You don't breathe.
You don't breathe.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's
Maybe
interesting.
it helps. Yes. Okay, and then you add all your white wine.
Okay.
You cover the shallots and you make it cooking. Okay, it's really important that it has to it has to reduce a lot, like from half of a liter or a quarter to liter. You have to arrive to that
this
amount.
Okay.
Okay, and this is really something important. So I've already made this process, and I have the butter that we will use today. But I wanted to show you how easy it is to obtain it, because it's really something really fast that you can make once, and then you keep your butter in the fridge and you have it. Maybe you can freeze it, but the point is that you make your preparation, and it's only once, and you have it for
a while,
a long period.
All right.
Okay? And even when you have nothing at home, you have your powder, you have your acidity in the butter, and you can make easily a pasta, a bruschetta.
A pasta sounds great.
Yes. It's really easy.
With those elements together, you combine. It's very interesting.
Really
so let's say that, but today how many, for example, how many people can eat that rice?
Well,
one, two?
No, this is
4?
I think this is a 4-portion risotto.
Okay. We don't eat that much anymore in Italy, I have to be honest.
No, but I think
but it's good to eat the right amount.
For me, 60 grams of risotto and 75, 80 grams of pasta, it's really enough to have a healthy lunch, you know.
And it's so strange because in Italy we measure the rice with pugno, with the fist. So we say 2 fists are good for...
yes, you see here...
For one person, yeah.
1,
you see?
2, 3, and 4.
Okay, maybe...
And then some more.
4 that doesn't eat too much, and 2 that they have the right amount.
Yes, yes, correct.
Yeah, right.
And then we have the green pepper,
okay?
And I want to use it also. I want to use the juice from the grapefruit that is really acid, as we know, but there's also a lot of sugar inside and a lot of flavor. So we will mix and we combine these 2 complexity in one preparation, that is this one, that we will add at the end to our risotto. This is the green pepper peeled in another way. So we have seen one technique that is here, cooked in the oven
with the salt,
with the
20
salt,
minutes.
and then in the bag, and then peel it. Then we have another technique that we use for the yellow ones. So really simple with this. And then here we have another technique to peel it, that is using a torch, a cuisine torch, to make this.
At home we generally, well, we don't have this torch. We just, when you have the flame, we put the pepper on the flame directly.
Of course.
Yes.
But it's really something that in Italy it's quite easy.
Quite easy, yeah.
And in every family I've seen it. In Spain they make these amazing dishes with green pepperoni in the homes with only a little bit of oil and you know, the pan on the fire at high temperature. And this is something that I really love also. And
like a scalivada?
Sì.
Yeah, because it's very close to what we have in the south of Italy.
Yes, exactly.
The taste so gentle of the pepper.
And can you see? So you have a pepper that is still fresh, still really spicy, but without the skin. And I use this to peel it under the water.
Yes.
And I can show you. It is really
fantastic.
green, you know. So after all, you can make also a fresh insalata with this. Only cutting this without the skin again, without the seeds, and not overcooked, really fresh still.
A little bit still crunchy because
yes,
it just
really
the fire.
crunchy.
Yeah,
and
nice.
You marinated it with the grapefruit juice in this case, or you can add it to a pasta again, to use it beside a stick or something like this. So the third method of peeling it will make this preparation.
Okay, so once you have done this, you cut very tiny.
Yes,
and
very
then
tiny.
you add the grapefruit on top.
Yes.
And you leave there how long?
Oh, it will be enough even 1 hour or half an hour.
Okay.
You can make it also the day before for the day after. It will depend to the time that you have at your disposal. So now I will show you how to make the burro acido, but let's start to cook the risotto. Okay? So here. Not so high temperature. This is very important to make a good risotto. And I know this Carnaroli, I think now it's 12 years that I use this producer, so I know it very well. And I start always adding really less fat than what it's used typical in Italian cuisine. Like this, it's enough. And
olive
then
oil, extra vergine,
and then the salt.
Okay.
Okay, and let's start. It's really, as you know, traditional in the Italian home cooking. That people starts from the onion or the shallots, adding a little bit too much oil, and then adding the rice, and then tostare il riso.
This is the typical process.
Sì.
Yes.
Tostare il riso. This is tostare il riso. So roasting the rice a little bit gently will make the difference from a risotto and a simple riso.
Because the taste of the rice itself comes out much better in this way. Yeah.
And even how you see now in my professional kitchen we have a risotto made by elderflowers on the menu, because it's spring, the end of the spring, and it's really seasonal for us. And at the end, when the cook that is ai primi piatti, so the first course is on charge on the primi piatti. At the end of the cooking, sometimes I show him. Can you see how the rice is closed? It's not open. And it depends, because this process, maybe it was not so perfect. It was too fast. And during the service, you have to check it very well, because at the end, again, it will make the difference. Okay, so can you see? Now it's a little bit hot, but it's not enough hot. And the fat is really only the one that was necessary for the to have every piece of rice seasoned, not too much. Another thing, if you put the onion in the pan before, you will not be able to tostare il riso properly.
Yes, and also the onions will cover the taste of the rice too. Yes. So that's why it's important, because a risotto made in this way is really addiction of good rice, taste of the rice, taste of the pepper. Everything is very intense. Each ingredient is very intense, and then the combination, I'm sure, is going to be fantastic.
I hope. And can you feel it, please? Can you feel it?
Yeah.
It's hot. It's hot.
Because you have to know, the chefs doesn't feel the heat anymore. No, it's true. You're very used to.
Yes. Here I have a little bit of water, hot water.
Yes.
And it's important because in the first, at the first step of the rice cooking process, it's really sensitive. After 5 minutes, it's more simple to add maybe some juices that are not hot. But at the beginning, it's very important that the stock or the water that you use, it's not maybe a boiling water, but it's hot enough to keep the temperature of the rice at once at the same. Okay, now the magic. Okay, we will use the powder from the same rice, and we will add it while it's boiling. This is very important. So you have to stir it, to whisk it while you make this. And it depends of the seasoning that you are using at the end of the mantecatura process, how much you have to add at the beginning. So I have it in my mind, and I think this is because I know the result that I want to obtain. And but as you could see, it was a pinch of it, you know. And there are not pieces inside. It's really creamy,
it's
even
a fantastic
now.
trick.
And
Fantastic.
it's really, really simple. And now I can add my yellow pepperoni.
So basically you're using the juice of the pepper as it was used the broth before.
Exactly.
The stock.
The stock.
Yeah.
And but here again you have freshness without any fat, and at the end the fat that you will add will be the raw butter that it's not so heavy as when you use it through the cooking process.
Yes, but it's going to be out from the fridge, or because some chefs used to put the butter, to use very, very cold butter. Are you going to do the same, or you prefer to have natural temperature?
It depends of the room temperature, of course. When you have 40 degrees in your kitchen, it will be better to keep it in the fridge, not until the last moment, but almost there.
Okay.
Here we have a butter that is totally raw, but as you remember, we are making the burro acido. So we start from the juice of the grapefruit, from the white wine that we have here, that's really traditional in Italian cuisine as a base of the risotto, but in another way. So when you think that the reduction is enough, you put.
We are almost there.
We are almost there, but not so fast as the cooking process of our risotto is going. And I have my butter already done, of course, but I will show you how really easy it is to make it. So, you keep an eye on my risotto.
Sure, I like to do this. You chef do this all the time.
Yes, all the time. And we add
You want me to
stir it. It's not really necessary if you put
just
enough.
to feel useful, you know, just to feel useful somehow.
Yes, but it's also there are some type of rice that need it to be to release the amide in the quiet way, and some chefs prefer not to add all the water that it is necessary at the beginning of the process of the cooking of the rice. I prefer, knowing very well my rice, to add a little bit more water at the beginning, as you can see, and because you don't need to touch it during the process. I think it's like 10 minutes of cooking, and then 2 minutes of rest, and then 3 minutes of mantecare.
Because resting the risotto is important.
Really
I learned
important.
that. Yes. I see that it's a very common technique of, I mean, each chef has his own technique, but there is always the rest.
Yes.
The moment that you wait, and you are starving, but you have to wait.
Yes. It's not like the pasta that you have to cook it, mantecade, and then serve
Espressa.
it.
Pam, via.
Yes. Okay. Now, as I love the smell. Okay. And then we go. It's really, really easy. You put in your blender the base.
You see the gesture?
A little bit more water. Okay.
Giro.
Yes, thank you. And as I said to you, you put hot your shallots inside. You can reduce it until it's glazed. It's really interesting that even how much you cook it will change your receipt at the end, putting more freshness or less. It depends to you. And then you add your butter. This is a salty butter. Okay, so we are adding the butter, and then to this you add your juice of grapefruit. So you add more acidity in, and the powder of the grapefruit in it. And it will add more bitterness that is quite necessary
I think so, yes.
Okay.
I'm not feeling that I can teach you English, so...
No, I think your English is better than mine, so...
Yes.
Okay.
Profumo. Antonia, do you want me to add some water?
Yes, not so much because we are almost there. And I love al dente riso.
Me too. Pasta and riso al dente.
Okay, this is your butter. Okay? This is a butter full of flavor that you can put in the fridge and it will be there when you need it. Okay? So, I will show you the two preparations that we have made today that are, of course, a little bit more than what we need for the recipe.
Okay.
But it will be, again, a preparation in the fridge for us for other dishes. Okay? So the butter.
Yes.
And the red pepperoni cream. Okay? Without any fat here. Okay? And then we taste.
Il profumo, outstanding.
Thank you.
And it's almost time to have some lunch.
We need more cooking.
I hope that you guys home are having fun with us.
I hope it
Yes,
also.
and risotto. No, and these ideas of the powders are it's very interesting because you can really improve your food, your preparation of the food at home in a very ethical way too. Because the Italian cuisine, the Italian cooking today, it's also very, very careful to all these matters.
Yes, of course.
You know, so, yeah.
And the Mediterranean cuisine is easily healthy because we use less protein than other cultures.
Yes.
We use a lot of grains and I think about also beans and lentils, everything that is quite typical, ceci. We use a lot of them, like any Mediterranean culture.
And also, it's true that it's typical of our grandma's tradition to recycle everything, use the leftovers.
Yes.
I mean, the idea was to clean up your
fridge, yes.
Your fridge every week and be careful with all the recycling. So
yes.
Yeah, the rice looks almost done.
Can you see how much cream you have in?
Yes, and you didn't add that. Well, there is
Any
no
fat?
butter yet.
No.
Yeah.
I tried to make fully not a deep fat rice, adding a little bit of olive oil at the end, and of course this technique helped a lot. If you cannot eat the butter, you can add a little bit more of the powder, and at the end you can add a cream of vegetables that is totally vegan and also is full of flavor without any fat, and you have still a mantecated, come si dice?
We can't say mantecade, but we are so attached to the word mantecare that it's a neologism.
Yes,
we say mantecade. And it's true that you can do a vegan risotto if you don't use the butter. Yes. You can use just olive oil and create...
And not adding maybe, nor cheese or Parmigiano or yogurt or something.
Yeah.
And still having something that is creamy.
Yeah, and tasty, yeah.
Okay. Now we are still... Can you see also, I want to show you how fat is our rice. I mean the dimension of it.
Yes.
It increased a lot.
It's expanded its volume,
yes.
a lot.
And it means that our tostatura is made correctly.
To understand when the tostatura is perfect, you just touch the rice,
yes.
Or it has to be a little bit browny, the color,
no,
or that
no.
means that it's over?
Over.
Okay.
You have to have your rice still white, really white. And another point is that if you do like this,
yes,
it sounds like, yes, it has a music particular. It depends to the temperature.
Okay. Are you having this risotto at your restaurant in this moment?
No, in this moment I have the elderflowers one.
Elderflower, yeah.
But I think this is one of the most wanted risotto in my restaurant. So every time
we like most wanted.
yes, and it was like 2 years that I didn't made it because but guests loved it when I made it. So I wanted to show you this risotto.
Once we did this a whole magazine of La Cucina Italiana with Antonia, and we had this amazing ricettario where the recipes were all about, I don't know, meat and vegetables and fruit, because as Antonia said previously, it's true that in that part of Italy and the part of Europe, you combine a lot of fruit and something else. They usually sold for example, in Milan, we don't use that much this combination, or neither in Rome, or so it's very, very identifying for where are you from.
Yes, it is.
And it is interesting because it's true that putting fruit gives freshness right away.
Yes, exactly.
And freshness is a key element.
And if you see, if you think about the tomato or maybe even a pepper, and you are open-minded, maybe you can see that maybe it's a fruit.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a fruit.
You have to change your state of mind towards vegetables or fruit. Yeah.
Exactly. Now I've added my red pepperoni cream, and again it's already creamy, even if I have no fat inside. Yes. And another point, you can put here some pepperoncino, some spicy red pepper.
Yes.
If you like the spicy things, or a little bit of paprika, not yours, but the one that is smoked, adding some flavor again. And you can also start from this to make a chili, to make, you know, a ragu, to make something.
Pepperone ragu, yum.
Or maybe a peperonata, you know.
Peperonata, sure.
And you start from a cream of pepperoni without any fat. Okay, now we are there. I know it. So I turn it off, because when you add the fat, you have to turn the fire off.
Absolutely. And move the pan from the heat.
Yes, exactly. Now I add some more cream, a little bit more water.
This is crucial.
Yes.
Okay.
A little bit more water. Some people cover it with the top, coperchio.
Yes.
Okay. But I prefer to see it, to show how it reacts to the resting process. Okay?
Che fame.
Che fame? I want to taste it a little bit.
Va bene?
Sì.
Are you satisfied?
Yes.
Bene.
It
Un po'
will
di
need
sale.
more salt.
Sale. Poco.
Poco. And let's start.
Yes, please. What about the magic powder?
It's enough.
Okay.
You can see that I want one thin. If you do this, it's already mantecato. In a way, you can see that there are non è diviso, it's not divided.
Yes,
okay?
And you see that there is creamy all around the rice, so you don't need to add some more, okay?
Exactly.
Okay.
Now I add
Burro.
my butter, but it's not only butter here. You have the onions, you have the juices.
Sorry, but I have to taste this
you
butter
can taste
all alone.
Now another secret. You add the butter and the temperature goes down immediately because spento.
The butter is outstanding.
Really, huh?
Yes.
And now I add my Parmigiano.
You want me to do... Ah, you have already...
Yes.
Parmigiano Reggiano.
Yes.
We have... I think that every Italians have some Parmigiano Reggiano or Grana Padano in the fridge.
Yes.
Because it's something that, you know, when the children want to have a bite in the middle of the afternoon, you have... Or you do bread and olive oil with salt. I love that.
And also, I think...
or Parmigiano and some bread.
You need some energy. It's really healthy as a snack.
Yeah.
I think I need a little bit more
Va
of
bene.
this.
Okay, add a little more.
Yes, directly.
And you know that butter is great to burro acido, to put also just a little piece on some meat.
Yes. Or even
I
some,
love this.
you know, can you imagine something really simple as, I don't know, a carpaccio? Or really at room temperature with a little bit of butter aside.
Fame. Okay, even if I have to be honest, I don't eat that much meat, but sometimes, once in a while, one is really good, and I
Yes.
know that it's very checked and tasted.
Okay, let's
I
make
indulge.
it.
Yes.
I
What
want to
about the
clean it out
powder?
a little. We will add it at the end.
Okay.
Some of the grapefruit powder is already in the risotto.
Okay.
Because we put it in the butter.
We have cleaned the table because we like, well, the chef always clean everything when you are in the kitchen.
Yes.
I mean,
Not me anymore.
Not you, no, but no, but
No,
you
no.
did a lot. I mean, I saw you have this instinct when you cook. You always clean up a
Yes.
little bit, even if you are the main chef today. You know,
Yes.
it's really something that you have to do all the time while you are cooking. Otherwise, the taste mix up all together.
Yes, exactly.
And it's
exactly.
you know, it's nicer.
I'm thinking that maybe I will need some more acidity here.
Yeah. You brought this from your restaurant.
Yes.
I love this.
Thank you. This was a dish that they made for me. This is a local artisan, and I wanted really a dish for the risotto. It's really nice because, as you can see, this is come si dice? Lucido.
Okay.
Lucido inside. So when you go with your spoon, the noise is different from this here.
Bellissimo.
This is our risotto. Then we add some of our green pepper on it.
Antonia, this is outstanding.
This is really something that I love, you know.
Il profumo.
And then you go with this.
Fantastico.
There's powder and the grapefruit and the yellow
Those
one.
powders are magic. It looks.
It seems so simple, you know, at the end, when you know how was the process, but a lot of flavor is in it.
Yeah.
And this is the dish.
Bene, dunque adesso chi l'assaggia? Who is going to taste it? I'm the only one in the room, you know already, so I am.
Yes. Do you want really to taste it? Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. You go first. At the end, maybe it would be nice to add a little bit more Parmigiano inside, but for me, it's really fresh and it's good for the summer.
No, it's also amazing because you really feel every taste, every single taste, and it's one extra taste as in risotto.
Yes.
And also learning all these techniques to have a healthier food because it's important, and the new Italian contemporary food cooking is healthier than ever.
Yes, but even because we as Italian we are more aware of our ingredients, aware about how difficult it is to obtain them. And if you know how difficult it is to obtain a good Parmigiano, a good pepperoni,
Yes.
you are of course more sensitive to not to ruin them, in a way, you know. Avevi fame? She was
È buonissimo.
hungry. Thank you so much.
Buonissimo. No, I would like to eat everything, but I have to work. So.
Yes, no problem. But
No, I hope that you guys are having a good fun with us and you're having the same risotto that I'm having. Because Antonia, what I really like of you is the fact that you try to do new things every day.
Yes.
These ideas of the powder, this idea of the rice, I never seen before. And you know, a risotto, it's really my heart and the heart of many people in this country. So this is a great technique to really avoid too much butter, olive oil. They are very good, but in the right amount, I guess.
yes, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So this is how Italian food has to be seen today, because it's true, it's authentic, and it's fantastic.
Yes,
So,
we are in love with it.
I just have a curiosity. What is, I know that we have spoken about this subject so many times, and I know that everyone is asked the same question, but it's true that in Italy, mainly we have the women at home cooking. Well, it was now a little bit different, but traditionally the mama is the one that cooks. Not mine actually, but this is another story. And the men are in the big kitchen, I mean in the important kitchen.
In the professional ones.
In the professional ones.
Yes.
How comes that there is this difference, and how you deal with the fact that you are one of the few women that really are with a Michelin star, or that you did a TV show, Master Chef, I have to say, 3 years ago.
Yes.
And you are the only lady very visible in the cooking landscape, more or less. I mean, there are others, but not as you. How it's come?
Well, it's really difficult to answer to this question not mentioning that in Italy women have problems and are solving problems in every field, you know. I think this is not a problem about the kitchen world, because, you know, nobody cares if you're beautiful, if you're well dressed in the kitchen. The only point is that you have to cook well.
Yes.
To be able to cook.
I mean, if your risotto is good, you're respected.
Exactly.
Even your woman and man doesn't count.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But the point is that the numbers of the women in the kitchen are so low, then it's obvious that we have a problem. If 90% of the job loss this year are between the women, it means that we have a problem in every field.
Yes.
And of course, in a field like the kitchen world, where you have to be competitive, you have to use a big amount of hours on your job in a day. Of course, it's really more difficult for a woman to emerge, because you have to manage so many things alone without any help from, you know, but this is really a social issue.
Okay.
And I think we have to rethink about how we help women to emerge during their high school, their professional lives. We need help more than men. We need someone to help us on the cares of our children, on our homes, and to share the care job.
Okay, but you and your sister handled the restaurant Large Navenco in the middle of the countryside, in the middle also of a lot of amazing products. How is important this distance from those products for you?
Well, it's I think the difference between me and other people is that I had the possibility to choose. If you are not able to choose your life, to choose your place to live, where you live, and your profession, you are not able to compete. And I have chosen my place, my life, and I really earned enough to build my restaurant day by day. And this is something I think I'm really lucky. And I, of course, have chosen to be in the countryside because I'm a cook, and I love to see beauty from the windows of my kitchen. And beauty is something that inspires everything and everybody. And you know, ingredients, if you are in the middle of the countryside, you can really understand your producers, your suppliers, of course.
So knowing the products or knowing the suppliers, for sure.
Yes.
Also for us that we go to the markets, or
Yes.
it's important to choose with a lot of care what we put on the table every day, because when we talk about the authenticity of the ingredients from our country, it's also a matter not just to put a label on top, but
Yes.
of course the label of Italianity, but mostly to put the label of quality.
Of course, yes. And I think we have to be aware of this is not an object without a life, you know. Mm-hmm. It has a history before it arrives in your house, and it means energy. And when you think about sustainability today, you have to think about this not only because of water or because of the soil, but because it's time that someone spent on it also.
Yes, that's why with La Cucina Italiana, when we speak about the product, we go to try to do the product. For example, we go to a cheesemaker, we go to farms and try to figure out how is. For example, once I went to harvest the capers in Sicily.
Oh, yes.
And since then I see the difference and why they are so expensive. And because otherwise, and how much effort there is behind the product. So once you are aware of this, the food change in front of you.
Yes, correct.
And also the quantity, because we don't need huge amount of quantity, but we just need the right one.
Yes, well, I really, I'm really aware of the quantity, for example, of strawberries in spring, because I think now 30-40 plants of strawberry, and sometimes the snails arrive. Sometimes it's the weather, because it's too hot, too much water. It's rainy in Friuli Venezia Giulia, and so I know perfectly how many difficulties there are behind a great strawberry, of course.
So you realize, basically, staying in the countryside, how vulnerable is nature and how you have to deal with it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And this is something that changed my life. And I come from Trieste, and Trieste is a city on the sea in the northeast, on the border with Slovenia. And my parents are medical doctors, so they didn't have a kitchen garden. They didn't forage the herbs for the dinner. And
your grandmother didn't cook?
No, but, well, she cooked very. In my family, cooking was something really important. Even in my
all Italian families,
yes,
I have to say, quite important.
Yes.
But in yours specifically,
yes, it was very important. And there were so many different origins in my family. My grandfather Antonio came from Puglia. My grandfather Klugmann was Jewish, and he was born in Zurich. And my grandmother came from Emilia-Romagna, so the heart of the pasta world in Italy. And as you can imagine, in the table, when we were eating, all those traditions became ones, And this is something that made me maybe feel joyful about the lunch and the dinner in my house, but it was not something to feel the empty. Sometimes the food is a way to feel emptiness or loneliness. In my house, it was really a joyful moment as others. And even if my mother was outside the house for all day long at the university, when she arrived at home, at 6 o'clock, at 7 o'clock, she always cooked a little bit for us. And it was a moment. It was interesting.
Your moment with her.
Yes.
Yes, because nowadays we have less time, but there are a lot of ways of, as you showed before, to shortcut to create amazing food in a very short amount of time. Of course, you have to invest some time to create the powders, to create the cream, or the burro acido. So, well, Antonia, grazie.
Grazie a te.
Grazie.
Thank you to everybody who is listening.
I hope that you tried to do this risotto, and I hope that you have tasted, and I'm sure it was really good. It's quite easy, and I think we can try also with other ingredients that we have in the fridge. Everything is allowed.
Yes, of course.
It's important to stay on the quality.
Yes, and using those techniques, maybe you can rethink your favorite vegetables. Maybe a zucchini or something.
Eggplant.
Yes, eggplant.
Melanzana.
Of course, eggplant cooked in the oven, then in the bag you preserve the juice, and then you will use it in your risotto with a little bit of ricotta affumicata on it, or maybe the tomatoes.
O pecorino.
Oh, yes, of course. And sometimes you can also mix those ingredients, because you know tomato and melons and aubergine are amazing together.
It's an amazing marriage.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you, grazie Antonia, for this amazing recipe and this amazing vision of the contemporary Italian cooking. So grazie, un bacio dall'Italia. Ciao!
Ciao!